right, we are back, everybody. Welcome to the Great Transition. How are you, everybody? How are you, Seth?
Terrible as usual. How you doing, bro?
2020 as usual, man.
2020. Is it
I'm
the
uh,
best
I'm
year ever or the
I'm
worst year ever?
2020. I think you can we can brand it as a new we can make it come up with a new thing, like a new thing. How are you? Like when you're not sure. You're
Oh,
not sure how you
2020.
are. I'm 2020, man.
Yeah, it
It's
could be
like
like
don't
maybe
don't
like a
talk to
song.
this guy, man. He's 2020. Don't I wouldn't if you want to ask him for a favor. Like this now is not the best time. He's 2020. Anyway, so yeah, everybody, welcome to the Great Transition. Whether you're watching us live for the first time or watching the recording, if you ran into us for whatever reason and you don't know what happened, what brought you here, we know. What brought you is that you too feel that in 2020 the world is going somewhere unclear and you want to make sense of it. So, if that's the case, this is a great place to be. This is the place to be. Here, we are trying to go beyond the mundane commentary, the he said, she said, this side versus that side. We want to go above all of those things. We want to see how humanity is one thing beyond differences, beyond politics, beyond religion, beyond culture. We are all bound by laws of nature, and that's what we're exploring. And, that's why we're here. Welcome to the Great Transition. So, Seth,
You make it sound good, man. You
did,
make you make me sound inspired.
you want to watch the
Make
show?
me feel inspired. Make me feel
Yeah.
inspired.
Hopefully, we have with us people inspired from many different places around the world, such as England, London, and Germany, and Quebec, and Melbourne, Australia, and the Netherlands, and the US. And yes, I'm hearing people are. Julie Dehan is saying Happy Hanukkah. So, yeah, for those who are celebrating that, or if you're celebrating any other holiday, happy holiday for you. Um, and Yeah, I actually have a funny thing before we start about the holiday. Did you get the donut meme with the vaccines? Did you
I
did,
did.
did you see that? There you go.
Yeah.
Did
I didn't think it was that funny, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
cute.
no, I didn't think it was very funny, but it's very relevant. It's very relevant. Anyway, makes you think a little bit. Um, I want to jump right away into something epic that is happening right now. You ready for this?
Everything that's happening right now is epic. Talk to me.
Okay, so check this out. We have scientists for the first time in history came up with this calculation that shows that for the first time in history, all of the man made stuff that we are making, and that means everything. So, from skyscrapers to cigarette butts and everything in between, your plastic cup and your car and your phone and the walls around you and all the concrete in the world and all the roads and all the buildings, everything. All of that now, for the first time in history, weighs more than all of the biomass, all of the mass of all of the living things on planet Earth. Now, just kind of that's a good illustration to kind of, but just take that in for a second. Take that in and think about what that means. I mean, of course, the scientists here are talking about, they're calling it the Anthropocene age or era or epoch, which is, like a new geological kind of era that is characterized by man's dominant influence over the natural world, the natural environment. But it's not just mass. Of course, it means that the impact of humanity on the planet is is at a dramatic point of influence. But and they come up with all these interesting numbers, And then
Did
there's
these humans
also,
that you speak of create anything good?
well, your phone, your car, your the building that you're in or the house that you're in right now, the Zoom call that we're on in order to broadcast this show. So you gotta give some credit. You gotta say something's good. Not everything is horrible from all of this human-made mass, don't you think?
Withholding judgment.
No comment. I'll,
I'll
I'll
wait to
tell
see
you.
how it turns out. Yeah.
No, the why would you say that, that all that we're creating, all that we're producing, all that we're developing is not good? Is are we
Did I
bet
say that?
No, why would you say?
Or why
Okay.
would I say it?
Yeah, let's say, what is the
Well, I guess, even I'm sure there's lots of examples of even like terrible, terrible people or terrible, terrible, really good things coming out of really bad things. But it's like when someone says, it was a miracle. I was in a war and it was a miracle that I survived and everyone around me, perished and I made it home alive. And thank God I made it home. God saved me and brought me home. And, okay, that's a miracle. But like that same God that saved you, like killed the other millions of people that died in the battlefield. So there could be a few good things that come out of it. But in general, not so good. So
Okay. No, you just brought God into the picture, but that
Chris,
and
Chris just wrote, "Ooh,
and
that
in
got
the
dark."
yeah, and in a very dark way.
I guess like
But
this, like um, if what is the purpose of everything that was built? If
okay.
things are built in order um, to just exploit others, then I'm not such a big fan.
No, now you're asking. No, that's a meaningful question, right? Now that's taking us somewhere. What's the purpose of
Why
all
did we
that
build all this stuff?
stuff? Yeah, why all that stuff? Tell you what, I wanna take the angle of where are we, in relation to nature. What they found, it is interesting. When you think about it, 10,000 years ago or something like that, there was the agricultural revolution, right? That changed
Yep.
who we are and what we do on this planet dramatically. Since then, they say we cut the biomass, again, the mass of all the living things, simply by how we used resources. We already cut it by half. But only in the early 20th century, there was only, if you did the same comparison that they are doing now, what they're saying is everything that we produced 100 years ago or so was only 3% of all of the, compared to the biomass, compared to everything else on the planet, right? And then all of a sudden, within 120 years, from the beginning of the 20th century until today, we have surpassed the biomass with everything that we produced. I think the number that we produce today, of everything that we've produced today, the mass is something like over 1.1 teratons, they say, which is like trillions of tons, which is a lot, and even just the amount of plastic that we've produced is about like 8 gigatons, right? Which is double the mass of all of the animals that exist on the planet. So we have more plastic than all of the animals on both land and sea. Now, all of these things, all of this great exponential growth happens in the last century. That's a very interesting thing that is now happening, because it isn't the only exponential curve. When I say exponential curve, for if people watching us are not exactly sure, I'm talking, yes, about this kind of hockey stick shaped curve. If you look at a growth of something and there's not a lot of growth in the beginning, and then all of a sudden whoosh, there's like a huge spike. So you see this kind of exponential curve in everything that you measure about human progress, about human development, from pretty much the beginning, mid of the previous century until today. You see exponential development in technology, of course, in consumption, in human population. We went from like between 1 and 2 billion people, 2 billion people, right, to like 8 billion
100 years ago it was
people.
2 billion. Now it's 8 billion,
So all of these.
approximately, give or take a few.
Right. There's human population, there's human consumption, there's energy production, the amount of energy that we use, the development of electronics, the development of the information and the spread of information, the evolution of the digital world. Yeah, and now this human-made mass versus living biomass. So there we go. Thank you, Chris. So this is where we were, right? Like the starting point, and this is where we are now in 2020. We're talking within 1 century. So I think that puts everything that's happening right now in an interesting question mark. Why is this exponential progress in everything that's happening? Now, the ecological, the earth scientists, and all of those great people who are researching the planet and talk mostly about what it means in terms of, the amount of plastic versus the amount of biomass, and the loss of biodiversity, and the pollution and the gas emissions and all that. Good people trying to look at how we are, how can we be more balanced with nature, or more specifically, they're looking at how much we're growing out of balance with nature. But I think when you look at that growth in every aspect, in every realm of human engagement, you got to ask a deeper question. It's not, why are we polluting the planet? Why are we producing so much stuff? It is, what is happening to us in the last century? We are becoming a different kind of creature on this planet. That's what we got to ask ourselves. The reality of you and I talking through wires, sending our consciousness to each other right now, creating a conversation in the cybersphere and spreading that to other points of consciousness connected in the same shared virtual digital space, and that becomes now 90% of our lives, that because of a pandemic that washes over the whole world. All of that is saying something. Something is happening to us human beings and the natural world, sure, but it's much bigger and deeper and more profound than just the amount of stuff. That's just an external ramification. That's just, an outside exhibit of a manifestation of something deeper that is brewing within. And now I'm wondering to myself if we should go very kabbalistic about it, or what do you think? What do you think? What do you think, Seth? Before you go ahead, just also everyone here on the chat, from all these great places, tell us, what do you think? What do you think? What do you make of all of this? Where do you think this is coming from? Yeah, man. What do you say? Yeah, I
Oh, you
don't
didn't
hear
hear
you.
me. I was muted that whole time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'd like to see where the questions are, where the comments and questions are. I saw, David said they must have used a very big scale to weigh all of that. Uh, the scale itself attributed for half of the weight. No.
Yeah.
So it's not about the mind, clearly. It's just about the feeling inside. If we felt satisfied with what we had, we would live like that. But you know, people woke up, they felt empty inside. I need to go to Mars, or they woke up and I need my car to be red and shiny. I
Yeah.
mean, have you seen like any I mean, I think women are great. Have you seen any women's closet that has, like 50 pairs of shoes? Or you ever
You're
you
you're
ever
going
experienced
into
this where
my wife might be watching. We're going into dangerous territory.
okay. So
No,
did your wife ever say you're gonna go forget your wife. I mean I don't want to
no.
say anything about Ali.
Now
Just
you're
some
making it,
any
even more complicated now.
okay. All right. You ever heard this? You're going somewhere and just, I have nothing to wear.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So I think it's a common thing and it's beautiful. Women are the best, but there's, and men have the same thing. It's about different things. It's a new gadget. It's a new, whatever it is. It's a new piece of technology. Something in us makes us feel empty. And then we need to, how do you fill it? We have to, there's a great, I mean, buying something calms us down, when we get something, when you see the Amazon package arrive, or when you
Yeah,
get a new,
Jetsy or Yetsy. I hope I'm saying the name correctly. I'll say both of them. We just said we love stuff and use people. Yeah.
um so forget about all of the undermining, whatever the word is, the way the sinister ways that marketing companies used to get us to play with our desires. But that's what it is. It's these desires that are developing inside of us. I didn't know that I needed that kind of cookie. I need
Yeah.
that cookie. I didn't know that I wanted that taco made out of Doritos. All of a sudden I have
Yeah,
these desires.
and it never ends too. It never ends. Like, so it used to be that you go to get a coffee like at Starbucks or whatever it is. Now it's like, give me the pumpkin filled with donut that will, take all of the depressive thoughts out of my
And
head
it works.
and
It actually works for
clean
about
my heart,
30,
kind of
40
coffee.
minutes. It works. You need to nurse that coffee for as long as possible. Uh,
No, but
yeah, so it comes down to desire. That's the short answer. It comes down to desire. And David Mancini asked a question: if it's exponential, do we eventually hit a wall? The good news is we will. Are we? Are we? Do you want to build it more before we get to what's it called?
Okay. No, yeah, let's
They,
unpack this a little more. Just a
okay.
little bit more. What
I
is
always do that. I'm
exponent?
always rushing.
Let's do this. Let's take Mancini's question, always helping us with questions. What is exponential? That's I want to elaborate on what you just said. You said it comes down to desire. That, my friend, is what a lot of our scientist friends are not necessarily taking into account. See, they're measuring the amount of plastic and they're measuring
Presenting facts.
yeah, and tons of graphs and beautiful statistics, beautiful scientific works. I love science.
Amazing arguments.
Great, but what is motivating the whole thing? What is driving the whole thing? It's just like the argument with there's a lot of techno philosophers saying very interesting things about how we create technology, but then technology create us. And and it's true to a great extent. We change our environment changes us. There's a feedback loop and all that. But what is the driving force, I ask you? What is the motivation? And that's what I'm trying to point
China?
to.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
The curve, that hockey stick curve, Chris, can you see it? Show it again. The that exponential curve that we're seeing in everything has to tell us that it's not just technology that is developing exponentially. It's not just the digital cyberspace that is developing exponentially. It's not just human consumption. It's not just human production. It's not just human made mass. It's not just human population. It is human desire. That's what we don't see with our eyes and our, our five senses, and that is the very thing that motivates us, the force behind all of our actions, thoughts, reflections, and relationships. Our desire is growing, and what it's trying to do is find fulfillment. Now, in that context, are we gonna hit a wall? Let's try to answer the question from this perspective. Is our desire, our growing desire for fulfillment, is it gonna hit a wall?
No. The answer to that question is emphatically
Okay.
no. Our desire for fulfillment is the whole essence of life.
Mm. So we're stuck in a situation
Do you have
where,
do
okay.
you have in that little country of yours, do you have you had I don't know what kind of light bulbs you use. You ever seen a light bulb blow out?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, so when what I don't know what makes it happen, but something happens between the plus and the minus, there's a spark, and then you don't have any more light,
Right.
right? If you want your light bulb to last for a long time, you have the plus and the minus, and you have some kind of resistor between them, and it sustains between
Right.
that plus and minus, and you got a
I
nice
think they call
glow.
it a filament. Okay, yeah.
Filament, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it can sustain a glow. If you have some problem on either side, boom, you get a pop of light, like a big flash, and then it's got that big flash. That's the Starbucks, that's the Amazon package, that's the new
Mm-hmm.
car, that's the Netflix show, that's the flash, and then I'm empty, then it's dark again. Then it's a flash, then it's dark again. And we're just constantly fighting to get one more flash, and then it's dark again. What so you said, does it end? We want to keep that light glowing, and as long as the desire keeps growing on the one side, oh, there you go.
Oh, Chris with the visual references. Okay.
As long as the well, it's called the negative side, the desire, and then the fulfilling side as the plus. So the whole basis. I don't know what. By the way, again, I don't know what happened to my colors here. Sorry. Um, the basis of the whole um, of our whole story is just to receive pleasure. I mean, that's what drives our entire life, is just pleasure. So
Okay. No, go.
I mean, without it, we would die. I mean, if you take, and that's where this virus and everything is leading us now, to this despair from all of this. Like, we get to a point where it's just like, I don't know how to be fulfilled anymore. Like, there's no place left for me to be fulfilled by all of this. What did we call all the stuff that outweighed all of the biomass? What did you call it?
Man-made stuff.
Yeah, I have no. Well, even the man-made stuff or the stuff in nature. Um, I don't know where to be fulfilled.
So we're in a situation where our desire is constantly growing, and in the last century, what we're seeing is it's exponentially growing, pushing us to innovate and develop and create all kinds of what? All kinds of um, um, attempts to fulfill ourselves. Essentially, everything that we're producing, everything that we're developing, everything that we're creating, whether it's bigger buildings or faster internets, or better medicine, or whatever it is, we are trying to fulfill that desire. That growing desire is driving the show. And of course, it gets convoluted with all kinds of interests. It dresses into all kinds of interests that we have in this world, for money and fame and power and gain of all kinds of, all kinds of colors and shades. But at the end of the day, The raw process that is taking place is this desire that relentlessly demands its fulfillment. And psychologists actually clearly identify, and that's a beautiful thing, that we gotta appreciate the materialistic kind of empirical side of psychology that looks into that. They're saying this is something that we can see and measure. They call it the hedonic treadmill, this kind of hedonic adaptation, meaning that whatever pleasure we
Like
get used to
hedonism,
it.
hedonic.
Hedonic from hedonism. Yeah, it basically means any pleasure we get used to it. So you get new clothes, you get used to it. You get your latte, you want a pumpkin latte. You get pumpkin latte, you want some other latte. You get your house, you want something else. Promotion at work, something else. We're always chasing our tail. We get something we want, we get used to it, we want something else. And so, yeah, and so we are stuck in this loop. The desire keeps growing, the fulfillments never satisfy, and we constantly find ourselves creating more, developing more, trying to get to the bigger, the better, the stronger, and then look at our culture as a result. That's another exponential curve, by the way. If you look at the I would call it the exponential growth of shock culture, right? Every look at films in a century ago and look at it today. Look at games, computer games or whatever, 40 years ago from when they started, 50 years ago, and look at them today. I'm not just talking about the graphic quality, I'm talking about the standards. We need to shock ourselves. So we need more violence, we need more sex, we need more profanity, we need more explosions, we need everything to be stronger, more shocking, right in our face. And there's an exponential curve there as well. So why is that? Because we have to find a way to fulfill that desire, to calm down that desire. Now, help me here. Calm down is not a good way of saying it. We're not saying, I don't want to say that we should suppress ourselves. And I saw some things in the chat talking about should we maybe move to minimalism. There's this new movement that recognizes that we're completely in resource overshoot in the planet and everything, and we should try to live a more minimalist life. And of course, it's coming from a good place, but again, it fails to recognize that this desire is driving the show. It's motivating the human beings, and therefore, even if for a while, at some part of the population, we can find fulfillment in some trends like minimalism, at the end of the day you're dealing with a desire that keeps growing, and you're going to have to fulfill it in one way or another. So the issue at hand is not how can we curb and restrict and repress that desire, but rather how do we actually fulfill an increasingly, continuously, repetitive, repetitiously, I don't know, continuously growing desire. Couldn't come up with a better word. Cyclically growing desire. So how do we do that,
Um,
bro?
if we are in the just so everybody knows here, because I know that I think this broadcast is going to a couple different places. We're monitoring the questions as long as YouTube doesn't think that we are going against their political agenda for the meantime. We are monitoring the chat in the Great Transition channel on YouTube. So if you have a question that we can answer that's relevant here, please ask it there so that we can see all of those. I know we're going out to a couple different places, and that's great. But in the Great Transition YouTube page, that would be to where to answer the question. So, Asaf, as a dad, I get more pleasure. My kids are older now, but when they were younger, for example, like when we would go, like when you take them to have ice cream or something like that, I would get more pleasure watching them eat the ice cream than I got myself from eating the ice cream. Right.
You're
So
such a good dad.
Okay.
No, I just
Unlike
for
you.
me with it's the most problematic example when it comes to ice cream.
Okay,
I'm
forget it. It was just an
real.
example.
I know. It's just you said
You're
ice
like,
cream.
give me that ice cream
I
cake.
don't know
No,
what it
so
is, man. From the
okay,
from
so think of another
childhood.
example. But the point is that um,
No, no, but I buy it. I buy the example
can you just
because
yeah play along with me for a minute? The point is we just want pleasure. We
right.
just want pleasure, right? So as a 5-year-old, the pleasure comes from eating the ice cream. As a 25-year-old, the pleasure comes, or a 35-year-old, the pleasure comes from watching your boy eat ice cream,
And the ice
right?
cream. And
And
the
the
ice
ice cream
cream.
itself. The,
Okay,
the,
now we're
the
good.
point the
We're
point
good.
is that this is not about like being a morally good person or anything like that. The point is it's just that desires change. At the end of the, I mean, I'm sorry. The point is the where we receive the pleasure from has the ability to change, right? You take
Hmm.
an 8-year-old boy and you tell him that some girl wants to talk to him and he goes, ew, that's gross. You take a 16-year-old boy and you tell him that girl wants to talk to him. He's like, yes, nice. When? After school? How? When? Where?
Hmm.
He wants to. So it's just about receiving pleasure. The nature of how it can be, how to receive the pleasure is what we're talking about here. So uh, we are in a situation now where if we took all of the pleasures that we received in our life and put it on one side of the scale, and if we took all, don't do this by the way, because you'd find out it's probably better to not be alive if you did this. But if you took all of the pleasures you received in your life and put it on one side of the scale, and all of the suffering and torments you felt in your life and put it on the other side of the scale, I mean, what is it, 80-20?
Hmm.
It's definitely not at least 50-50, right? I mean,
Oh,
more of life is spent.
dude, you just came up with the research that they should actually do, because what they were weighing was man-made stuff versus biomass, right? And they're saying in 2020 man-made stuff is now weighs more than biomass. And you're saying you're saying we need to do the research that will take us to the point where we can say my pleasure, you know, surpasses my suffering, or
No, I'm saying that
some
the suffering surpasses the pleasure.
right.
Big time.
But until we
So
go
with
through
all
some
of this
yeah.
stuff that we made, we still so that's the point. The point is that the whole game here is to feel pleasure. That's the whole game. You're not to everybody out there in the world and everyone listening. You're not talking to these two holy guys who, the wisdom of Kabbalah is not talking about some holy person who somehow, I don't know, renounces every. No, the whole game is pleasure. That's the whole gig. The
Yes.
problem, the problem that we need to discover, and there's a reason why, and we get to the thought of what's behind all this. Um, this not working. The
Yeah,
thing
we're
we've
we're
been doing up until now is not working.
whatever it is we're doing, we're following our desire. First of all, that's, we're just, the desire is growing behind the scenes. It's activating the show. It sets up all these puppets that are doing things that are called human beings, us included, everyone else included. But the question is, how do we, whatever it is we've done so far, we didn't manage to actually fulfill the desire. We're always just creating those flashes of light, like you said, and we can't sustain it. We can't sustain fulfillment. We can't just be satisfied, be fulfilled, be full. We're
That's why
always
when when
at a deficiency, at a deficit. Yeah.
when Time Magazine says that 2020 is the worst year ever, I think if we were adults and we really looked at the situation, we might say that it's, well, I don't want to say this out loud, that
What,
it's
the
a good
best
year.
the best
I wouldn't
year
say that.
ever?
That's preposterous. How could you say that? But compared to this life where we were all felt empty and we were all working, towards what? Um, if we can see a big picture and if we can aim ourselves correctly, this may be um, that thing that makes a person change their. You know what's funny? Uh, when I was a kid and you'd sit and watch the cartoons and stuff. So like the first commercial would be for like McDonald's or for like some food like that, some fried food, and then the next commercial would be for some antacid, for like
Mm.
some heartburn medicine. It was
Oh
always like
boy.
one following the other.
Oh
Um,
man.
so,
I
but
just read a I read a sorry, that's a tangent here, but I just read today some research saying that junk food they find is well, not just, of course it harms your health, it's not good for you, blah blah blah, which is of course true, but not just that. Specifically for adolescents, for teenagers, and for people between I think 10 to 19, it can cause, like, a lot of junk food regularly hitting on, burgers and chocolates and that kind of thing, can actually harm you neurologically. They're now starting to see connections, and and it even has, and it has connections to depression, and it has connections to your ability to not be impulsive. A lot of things like that, things that have to do with delaying gratification. um
okay, let's not go
it's
down the junk food
Yeah, okay,
rabbit
no,
hole.
but it's interesting because it's a certain addictive behavior, and it just connected for me to, like, our behavior on the planet, what we do with how we conduct ourselves on the planet. There's also a very addictive pattern to that. So, okay, okay, you don't want to go there, we won't go there. No
Why would we
junk food
even?
for
Why,
you,
why did I even bring it
for
up?
us today.
Why? Why
I
did
have
we?
no
Why did I even
idea.
bring it up?
You said
You
junk food.
remember?
I don't know. I just
Oh, there
my
was
brain
this
made some
con.
connections. 2020 Time magazine.
The worst year ever. Yeah. Ah. Okay. So how can, yeah, how is there related? Oh, so if we see what's, oh, there, okay, so here we go. I was relating the life we were living before to like eating the junk food, and then like you just, as long as we had the antacids it was okay, and we could just keep living
Ah,
that
okay.
that life,
That
so can you say now that like they took away the McDonald's and everything, or the whatever, I don't care if you like McDonald's, but if you take away those things, then that it's terrible. Maybe it wasn't the right way to be living in order to achieve it. I guess, it comes down to this, and that's what we're doing here. It comes down to, what is our goal in life? What are we doing? Because based on that, if our goal in life is like, listen, I'm not having any kids, I don't really care about anyone else, I'm just trying to fulfill myself, then, good on you, mate. Like, we're good. Just keep going, keep making stuff, keep fulfilling yourself day in, day out. And there's actually that. Did you see the Kazakhstan bodybuilder or whatever? He's got this,
no.
he's marrying like a silicon
Oh yeah,
wife or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I saw
Yeah,
that.
so it's like,
Yeah, that's
and you get,
crazy.
and then there's also that other, in Japan they have now, like you told me, I
Ah,
guess you told me
Japan.
this week, the
Yeah,
hand.
I have this
There's like a
somewhere.
hand that you can hold, a mechanical hand that makes you feel better, that you can hold, or something like that. So, as long as we
Yeah.
keep doing these things, so just make more stuff, just keep making more stuff. But if we're trying to figure out a way to get to, there you go. Kazakhstan bodybuilder dated his sex doll for 8 months. Now he's happily married. Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah,
all
he
right. Enough of
married
this.
his sex doll. Oh my
Okay.
God.
So, right. I mean, she probably doesn't talk back to him. She doesn't give him a hard time if he comes home late from work, right? She's probably not that needy.
Mm-hmm.
So it works out for him. But if you want to have a deeper relationship, I'm not saying that they don't have a deep relationship, but if you wanted to have a something deeper than that, so then it just depends on what our goal is. And based on our goal, um, Mancini, I gotta block your comments, and I can't concentrate looking at everything you're writing. um, um, Based on our goals, that determines what the trajectory that we want to be going on. And as Kabbalists, what we're looking to do is, we're looking for infinite pleasure. We want endless pleasure. That's the gig. As I was saying before, you're not talking to two holy guys here who, you know, who renounced all worldly pleasures. No, we're looking for the real deal. We want the big payout. We want the endless fulfillment. The wall we ran up against is that, funny, Asaf, the exponential, it's almost like you run into a wall. Like,
It looks
the
like it.
only,
Yeah. Visually
you
looks
start,
like it.
you
Yeah.
basically run into a wall.
Yeah.
Um, the strategy we've been using is not working, because if we were to measure it, we would see that the suffering and the emptiness greatly outweighs the pleasure. So we need another strategy,
Yeah.
in
Lu-
short.
Lu- Lucinda just wrote, well, it comes down to the ego. And that really is, if you wanna really accurately define what is going on, it's the exponential growth of the human ego. And that's why you have all sorts of phenomena that are taking place in 2020. You will see all kinds of ways in which what? In which people are trying to deal with that ego, to fulfill that growing, relentless need to fulfill ourselves. And that's why, but because we can't do it in any way we try, we keep on trying in new and weirder ways. And it's not just that, however, it's not just that this growth of the ego is not just pushing us to reach fulfillment. There is a very like a duality that is happening right now in mankind, in human beings, that I wouldn't be able to see it, without the vantage point of the wisdom of Kabbalah. I don't think people can actually see it, without kind of understanding the driving forces here, because it's a very paradoxical reality. On the one hand, we want more. We want more pleasure. We need more. Nothing fulfills us, like before. On the other hand, we are also losing hope that something in the future will actually fulfill us. There's a certain kind of latent, subconscious, gradually surfacing recognition that we are hitting this wall, that we're moving towards a point. The youth, the people who the children who are growing up today, they are, a lot of them are not so eager to go and conquer the world and get great jobs and be successful in the workforce and make a lot of money. A lot of them just want to chill. They just want to chillax. They just want to Netflix and chill. They just want, to get something to drink, something to smoke, something to watch, and just, be done with it, kind of thing. There's this, but this is actually, it's a very, I'm not dissing that at all. I think it's a very mature view that is now developing
Yeah,
in
there's
people.
this, why waste my time on all that if it's not gonna, if
Yes,
leave me empty at the end of the day?
exactly. Look,
I'm gonna
I
finally be 65, 7 years old, 70 years old. I'm gonna work my entire life, and then I'm gonna retire to do what?
Exactly. Look, even my son, my almost 9-year old, that's all. He's already,
He's already done.
he's
It's like,
already
Dad,
asking things that make you think like no motivation. Like where, but clearly it's not a problem of motivation. This is a motivated kid. He, if he's in a game, he'll play a game and all that. But you see big questions about, like, why people do that. Why should I do that? Do I also need to do that when I grow up? Like, you know and it's like, it's a very different generation that is now growing, and it's a very different kind of human desire that is now cooking. So it wants the greatest pleasure, but it also recognizes that that it's not in here. It's not on this level.
so Julie Dahan has a question that's kind of towards this end. Can there be a flash that shifts our consciousness to find a different kind of fulfillment that's not of the material world? Well, first, she's assuming that the pleasure has to be not material. I don't know what other kind of pleasure, but okay. So can there be a flash that shifts our consciousness to find a different, I don't know, maybe some kind of global pandemic, or I don't know, you tell us, can there be some kind of flash that shifts our consciousness to find a different kind of fulfillment? Maybe an eternal fulfillment.
I will tell. Okay. I would say yes. I would say that's a
Okay, next
very
question. No, I'm kidding.
that's a very nice way. Okay, I'll try to be quick about it. Yes, we need to start getting flashes of, you're right, a new non-material pleasure that comes from a new level of human connection. That's the kind of flash that needs to happen in our mind
Okay, okay.
and
Don't go
and
weird
in
on
our
me yet,
heart.
okay? Because I'm
No, no,
not
no, no.
prepared.
Why is it weird? Why is it weird? Wait a second. Why is this
Because
weird?
we're talking about sex, we're talking about money, we're talking about power, and you're like, we need human connection. That
Well,
doesn't mean anything to me. It
I
doesn't
think
stick on
that's.
anything.
I'll tell you why it's everything. I think that's excuse me for my French. That's BS. When you say no, we need money, we need possessions, we need that
No, it's not
because.
BS. It's actually very, very real. I can have a
Mhm.
home, I can have health, I can go skiing, I can put nice things
Right,
on the
but
walls in my
the
house, I can
fact
buy a
the
guitar.
facts
It's not
show
it's not BS.
the facts about human happiness and the research about it, and uh, um, show that beyond meeting your basic needs on the animal level, beyond having a house and medical care if you need it, and a roof over your head and food to eat and water to drink and all that, beyond that, more material, more matter does not make you happy. That's one. Two, what actually makes you happy when you want to get more money, when you gonna want to get a bigger house, when you want to get a bigger car, when you want more stuff and more zeros in your bank account, you're it's only a cover up. What you're actually enjoying is a certain sense of social status, social appreciation, social affirmation and validation. And it doesn't necessarily come across to us clearly immediately. We don't, when we think of another zero in our bank account, we don't think, oh, I'm looking for more social validation, I'm looking for more confidence that I get from society because now I am considered something higher, better, greater in the eyes of society. And the system is built in a way that I actually get to own more, to have power over more stuff in this world, because that's how we measure people. But at the end of the day, what we're looking for is, when you look at whatever the NBA of the millionaires, and when you look at the Warren Buffetts of the world, and you think about, why do they need another zero in their bank account?
I can't figure it out.
Why?
I
Why do
can't
they
figure it
need
out.
more? Why do they need more of that? What good does that do to any of them? Who they absolutely, Jeff Bezos. Like, why does he need? We have, this is legendary wealth that these people have, and still they're at it. They are totally at it. Why? Because they are now in an environment, they judge themselves according to those other billionaires and multi-billionaires and all that, and they see that they can get more validation, self respect, social status, measuring themselves towards these people. So all we need is that kind of social affirmation,
Okay,
social.
let's back it up a little bit because when you go weird on me, and here's the problem that we're having. Okay, when you start talking like this is exactly the problem that we're having. If you tell me you're gonna give me a lot of money, I can feel something.
Right.
Okay, if you tell me I'm gonna have sex, I can feel something. If
Yeah.
you tell me it's you're gonna have social affirmation, I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it means. I don't know what it feels like. So let's just back it up a minute.
I can give you examples.
I'd rather build up to it
Okay.
so that we can
Okay.
we can have
Okay,
something
but
here.
separate sex and food and shelter, because these are things that your body needs at a certain level, and your body needs it regardless of society. So there's that level too. You know what I mean? I'm not saying
O-
you're not gonna
Okay, so
need
let's
you're
just
not gonna
talk
need
about what is
sex and
pleasure.
food and
Just break it down for a minute. Like, what is pleasure, right? Because we said that you may get some people get pleasure from we see this many times when people get to the end of their career and they get closer, they're getting closer to the grave, and then they like donate a wing to a library, or they build a hospital, or they start giving money, and they get pleasure at that point from giving money, right?
right.
Earlier they got pleasure from receiving money, now they're getting pleasure from giving money. So it's not about the giving or the receiving, it's just about the pleasure. So what is pleasure? We have to go back. We have to understand we're only in this wisdom, in the wisdom of Kabbalah and where we're coming from. We're only talking about laws of nature here. We're not talking about a philosophy. We're not talking about a theory. We're only talking about how the system that we exist inside of works, right? You got up, down, you got left, right, you got black and white, night and day, high tide, low tide. There's a system. We exist inside that system. We feel empty by nature. If we didn't, we would just lay there on the bed and starve to death, right? But we feel empty, and then I need to go get up and go eat. And
Yeah.
then once it's filled, now I can sit down and rest. Dave Chappelle, funny comedian, he said, if I could we can't say it on the show. A woman in a cardboard, if I could be with a woman in a cardboard box, if a man could be with a woman in a cardboard box, he'd never buy a house, So it's like you'll do what you need to do in order to get what you need to be fulfilled. So if we had no desire, if we had no emptiness, we would be a rock. We would just lay there all day. We'd be fine, right? A cat, she just sits there. She licks her paws all day. Some point, the earth gets around the sun to a certain place, and the cat all of a sudden decides, now I need to go find a mate. And she
Right.
does. And then the planet keeps traveling, and the cat goes back to licking her paws. And then when the sun gets when the earth gets around the sun again to that same point again, she said, "Oh, it's time for me. I have a desire that just opened up inside of me that I need to go fulfill." She has no thoughts about it. She just
And we have that level within us as well. That's what's confusing. That is what's confusing. This animate level of existence, we experience that in addition to a developing human level of desire, human level
I
of
should really start
existence.
keeping a journal. So when these feelings start coming up in me, it's just
No, no,
that's
no.
because
It's
of the
it's important. See, people don't understand how they're built. Seth, this is our problem here. This is why it's this people don't understand what motivates them. They don't understand the different layers they're built from. They don't understand that there are different levels of desire coming from different level of fulfillment, and they will be fulfilled in a different way. And what is happening all around, modern human society in the 21st century is that we're trying to put a square peg into a round hole. We're trying to fulfill our human desires, which are designed to be fulfilled with not material, not matter, which are designed to be fulfilled with a kind of relationship between us. And through that relationship between us, we can find how, yes, and this gets trippy and non-material and weird, but we are going to find how nature fulfills us on a deeper level when we make the right connections between us. We will see how the light suddenly shines in that light bulb, right? In our deep human level of desire that seeks that emotional, call it emotional, don't call it spiritual, call it emotional, mental, conscious kind of desire that will not be fulfilled with more stuff. It just won't be fulfilled with more stuff. And yet, you're still an animal too. You live in this
you still
world.
need to,
You
yeah.
still need to eat. You need to have sex. You need to have a roof over your head. You need to have clothes, otherwise you'll be cold. Sure, you need all that. But the growth, what has happened, what we're seeing in all those graphs that now the earth scientists are finding with the biomass versus the man-made stuff, what we're discovering is, and we can't put the finger on it without the wisdom of Kabbalah, to be honest, is that the human level of desire is soaring. This is what's happening. We need fulfillment that is beyond this level of experience, that is beyond the physical realm, that is beyond matter. We're looking for it, and yet our legs are on the ground. We are like, how do you call that mythic creature that has legs
The
and
horseman guy,
the horseman guy. Why the horseman guy? The
feet on
the
the ground and the head in the clouds.
Well, yeah, the head on there's a different there's a different way to
I don't
use
know.
that analogy. I lost that there. I'm sorry, but yes, feet on the ground, heads in the clouds. This is the uniqueness of the human being. And at the moment, what we're trying to do is we're developing a desire to go to the clouds, and we're trying to fill it with the ground, with more matter, with
Right,
more
right. So we're
stuff,
trying to,
with
we haven't, what happened inside of us at first, we had small desires. I just need a shelter, something to eat, and that's it.
yeah.
Now we have this desire that just is endless. We have an endless desire now. That's the whole hockey stick thing. That's all that's showing. We're not talking about pollution, this. All we're showing is that it's just endless now. Just more, 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 faster, bigger, better, faster, bigger, better. And we're trying to fulfill that with all with just carbon. We're trying to
Exactly.
fill something infinite with carbon,
And on
with
the
just
way, we are creating more plastic and more buildings and more skyscrapers and more
ruining
stuff.
everything.
And we're cutting, we're chopping all the trees and we're polluting the planet and we're doing all of that to just try to be fulfilled until we're going to recognize we're just doing it the wrong way. We're just trying to fulfill the desire is real, the fulfillment is the wrong one. So,
Let's let's
yeah.
let's check in for a second. There are so many cool questions and cool comments. Sharon, thank you. First of all, Sharon, thank you. You've been with us for I don't know, I think since the beginning almost. So Sharon on YouTube is here with us. We see your questions. JG, P Marlin, Lucinda, Mystic 333, Mizzy Idiot on YouTube. Very good question. Comment, Irina, Oksana. We see you, Deborah. We see you all.
Who's
Um,
nice lady on TGT? Were you here before on
I
the
didn't see Nice Lady before, but I see she's here. Kevin James. I don't know if that's the actor. Grandma Patty. Still don't know if that's Lawrence's mom. But anyway, everybody, we
Gizem
see.
Alper? I
Um,
also saw is I think a new name. Maybe not, but yeah, I don't think I saw him
okay,
or
so
her
we see all the
before.
questions. Sometimes we don't know how deep these conversations are going to go and how much time we're going to have to get to all the questions. Remember that we're answering questions. If you have questions during the week, you want to be in touch with us. Find us on Twitter. Um, TGT
Yeah,
underscore
yeah. The
POD.
handle is
Right.
TGT underscore pod. TGT
Right.
underscore
So,
pod for the Great Transition podcast. TGT
okay.
underscore pod.
Also,
Yeah.
keep, we'll get to all these questions. They'll be included in conversations. We're constantly reading them, trying to, even if we don't ask the exact question, we're reading them and trying to include them, tie them into what we're saying here. And just global check. We have friends with us from Washington, Sao Paulo, Brazil. Hi. Vancouver, North Carolina, Quebec, Israel, England, Arkansas, Bangalore, India, Netherlands, Germany, Melbourne, Australia, London, Nairobi, Kenya, Tenerife, Florida, Spain, Southern Illinois, Sweden, Minnesota, Portugal, Miami, West Java, Indonesia. Wow. Virginia, Nigeria, LA, amazing. Norway, Quebec, of course. Thank you, everyone. It is so amazing to be with everyone. What a cool conversation today, Asaf.
Yeah, yeah. I also agree and feel there that we there's so much more things that came up here in the chat that we need to explore and get into, and we will. If you guys want to make sure while you're drumming up some song for us to wrap up with, Seth, I'll just mention if you want to make sure that you don't miss a beat from the Great Transition, then make sure you subscribe to the Great Transition channel, the dedicated Great Transition channel. If you're not watching us from there right now, then go ahead and go to bit.ly/the Great Transition. So it'll take you directly to the Great Transition YouTube channel. Subscribe there so you can make sure you don't miss any of our shows. We go live twice a week, Sunday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And we also post clips from the show on that channel and more things to come. So, Seth, how would you conclude this? What song do you feel will do this? Okay. Okay. No, unmute.
That wasn't the one.
No, okay. Here it comes.
Take our first breath. All right, we'll see everybody on Sunday, 2 p.m.
First action to be alive on what is left. To float above the light, all just to ask. To be in love with you and watch it from the outside. I wanna do what you do, just to run in a field that is blessed. And to come home with you and rest. Just to hunt in a field that is blessed. And to come home with you and rest.
Masked up, gotta block the call. Masking out my heart from egoistic thoughts. Learning all the lessons that this pressure gave us. Wanna save myself, I gotta save my neighbors. Slowly recognizing egoistic nature. Showing us connection is the only savior. We gon' come together, plow these fields of hatred. All is one with sowing seeds of love relations.
You shatter these walls, unsettle this heart from the chains of time. Then we soar through oceans in the sky. Oh, through your cold. To be in love with you, watch you with a bird's eye. See the world is filled with you. Just to run in a field that is blessed. And to come home with you and rest. Just to hunt in a field that is blessed. And to come home with you and rest.
Only love can save us. Viruses, the hatred, unity gon' vaccinate us. True immunity from all the things that separate us. Everything is only for the good, it's all to change us. Yeah, so with tears and we reaping joy. Ego is the evil seeking to destroy. Education covering the hate with love. Revelation blessings raining from above.
Just to hunt in a field that is blessed. And to come home with you and rest. Just to hunt in a field that is blessed. And to come